All right, a live look to Washington this morning, a shot of the U.S. Capitol. Tonight, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress. With me now to discuss is Eric Ham. He's CTV's political analyst. Good morning to you, Eric. Nice to see you.
Good morning. It's good to be with you.
So we already know, based on what the president said yesterday, that this was going to be a long speech. He said he had a lot to say. Tell us more about what you are anticipating from the president. What do you think his tone will be?
This speech is going to be very different, I think, than what we saw a year ago. The president came in a year ago and he was very defiant after having won the presidency. And it was a celebratory speech that he made, of course, denigrating his enemies, going after Democrats. But this year is going to be very different. While we know the president certainly has a long list of grievances, we're told that even though the president is going to deliver an offensive speech, where he talks about all the things that he's done and all the things that this administration wants to continue to do, that it will be very different, and that the president actually is going to be in a defensive posture with many of those Republicans who will be in the room tonight, very anxious and oftentimes listless as a result of the president's cratering poll numbers, and of course many deeply concerned about what it all means as they head into an all-important election year.
All right. His approval ratings are low. According to some polls, less than 40%. Trump said yesterday that those were fake polls. Do you think he will go there tonight? Will he talk about his approval rating?
That's a really good question. I think he won't actually talk about the polls. I think what he will do, typically what we always see from him, is he will speak about his victory in the most recent presidential election. And he'll use that as a way to try to counter what is actually happening and that his numbers are really bad. We also have to remember two of the signature issues that President Trump ran on, tariffs and immigration, right now are the two worst issues for him right now. Many Americans are deeply anxious about rising inflation and, of course, increasing prices. In addition to that, given the fact that we've already seen two killings by ICE agents in Minnesota right now, many Americans also simply do not want to see these policies and these tactics from ICE agents. So this is a policy that has gone completely off the rails. And with that massive rebuke by the Supreme Court just on Friday, this is a president who is actually in a much weaker position. And tonight, what he will attempt to do is try to project strength.
We're wondering what he will say when it comes to tariffs, and that leads into my question about the tension between him and some of those Supreme Court judges that ruled against him last week. Can you talk about that, Eric? What are you watching for?
Yeah, this is where I think tonight could get potentially very explosive. This was a massive pushback by the Supreme Court. And we have to remember, Donald Trump has had a string of unprecedented victories by this court, 18 straight, in fact. And so while many expected and thought that the president would lose in court, considering how he has weaponized these tariffs against the rest of the world, what we're seeing now is he has been stripped of a signature policy that he has used. And also, I think he's going to use that to really go after those justices tonight. And it's going to be very awkward for them sitting there knowing how the president can go after his enemies. And I think he will use this moment for that. Another potential aspect that we're watching for is there are going to be a lot of Democrats who have said that they will not be in attendance tonight. Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut says actually being part of the State of the Union legitimizes what he sees as a corrupt and runaway administration. And so he says that he will not be in attendance. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is actually pushing for his members to show up, but it will be interesting to see how many Democrats actually decide to sit this one out.
Right, and just a final note on that, how do you expect them to respond? They do have those few moments following Trump's address to make their statement on behalf of the Democratic Party. Eric, what do you think they'll focus on?
I think the focus for those Dems will be, of course, the pocketbook issues that are really making Americans deeply nervous and anxious right now. So they're going to focus on how their policies are trying to lower costs. And the fact that the president is now touting a 15% global tariff, which is essentially a tax on Americans, that is where many Republicans actually run from this president. And it's an issue where Democrats are going to really focus in on.
Eric, thank you. Going to be a big night and a long speech. Buckle up. We'll talk to you later.
You bet. Thanks.